G'day guys, I'm Matt Brand, and this is the 2020 Toyota RAV4. Now you might be wondering, Matt, you've already reviewed the 2020 Toyota RAV4. Why are you reviewing it again? Well, great question. This is the 2020 Toyota RAV4 Edge, which is the top of the line Toyota RAV4. And not only that, it comes with the exclusive 2.5-litre petrol engine, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission and an all-wheel drive system. So this is fundamentally a different car. And it also looks different and costs quite a lot different. Costs a lot more. And I have a lot to say about that. Now, as always, we will start by taking a look at the exterior of the 2020 RAV4. Then we're gonna move on to the interior and see how it drives. And finally, we're gonna end on should you buy one. And if you are new to the channel, please do go down there right now and hit that subscribe button and notification bell. I release an awesome new car review every single week. And if you do enjoy the video, please do go down there and hit the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Starting with the front, and I think that this is one of the best looking cars on the road today. The front of the Edge is fundamentally different to every other RAV4 in the lineup because it is the flagship off-roading kind of RAV4, which is kind of true. Anyway, we'll get onto that later, but suffice to say, this is not a true blue off-roader. I love the look of the RAV4, and the Edge just takes it to a whole other level. We have a big, meaty grille up front that just extends almost the entirety of the front of the car, and I think it looks so menacing, so bold. Flanking the grille are these tasteful headlights, which are LED low beam and high beam, and they just work well. Below the headlights are the fog lights, which admittedly are a little bit disappointing because they are halogen bulbs, and so they're not the brightest lights out there. And then down the bottom is a big old skid plate because this is the off-roading RAV4 and you need the biggest skid plate in the world. Overall, I love the look of the front. It is just so bold and like voluptuous. It looks so good. Truly beautiful in my eyes. Moving on to the side, and this really is just an extension of the cool. And it's where you really notice the jungle khaki paint job, which is a no-cost option, and it looks so good. I cannot recommend this color enough. And it is exclusive to the Edge. Of course, as it is an off-roader, you do get slightly more black wheel arch than you do on the other grades of the RAV4. And also there's these 19-inch wheels, which I think look so nice. With this paint job and this big black plastic cladding, I think it really does give the car almost a safari vibe. God, I said vibe. I'm a millennial. I'm sorry, okay? I'm a millennial. It's a cool look. I love it. The side is also where you have possibly the world's smallest floating roof design, a tasteful little bit of chrome above the windows as well, and then at the top you do have black roof rails. So it's a really nice side profile. And then the rear is probably where the least amount of changes have happened. You do get blacked out RAV4 and Edge badges, and that's about all that's different to every other RAV4 out there. I really like the rear lights of the RAV4. I think that even though they're not overstyled, they're not understyled either. I think they've just hit the perfect balance with them. I also like the little tasteful rear chrome bar that kind of joins the lights together. Up top you have a little roof spoiler, which does help to break up the boxy design of the otherwise pretty SUV looking RAV4. And then down the bottom, of course, we have another giant skid plate slash rear diffuser looking thing, which is almost certainly there just for looks, because really if you went off-roading, you would just damage the exhaust pipes which hang below it. And speaking of exhaust pipes, they are real-ish. There are real exhaust pipes within the fake tailpipes, but whatever, at least they're real enough, you know? Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I really like the overall looks of the RAV4. I know I've been harping on about it, but it looks really nice. I especially love the color and the styling differences of the RAV4. The front is just completely different to every other RAV4 out there, and I think it looks so cool. But let me know what you think. Do you prefer the looks of this RAV4 Edge, or do you prefer the looks of the RAV4 Cruiser Hybrid that I previously reviewed? In the comment section, I've left a little voting poll because YouTube got rid of the standard voting poll. So go down there and vote now. Now let's move on to the interior, but before we do, we're gonna send it. God, that's a loud engine. I want to start with the overall look, layout, and feel. The interior of the RAV4 is one of the most comfortable places you can be in a mid-sized SUV. There are heaps of soft touch materials absolutely everywhere. Of course, as you move down, there are some pretty nasty hard plastics, but you almost have to go looking for them. The rubberized dials around the interior are a really nice touch. They feel so good in the hand. And then also you get the same for the door grab handle. Such a premium, small touch, and it works so well. Being the Edge as well, you do get little orange highlights. I say little, big orange highlights dotted across the entire interior with faux orange stitching as well. It's a really nice touch, but I can see how some people won't like that because it is very in your face. There are also heaps of USB charging points up front, no less than 3 in the front with a 12-volt socket as well and a wireless charging pad. Next is the ergonomics in this car. We have a tilting, telescoping steering wheel and a seat that is super adjustable and easy to get into a great seating position. And not only that, you get great visibility as well just because of the big boxy design of the RAV4. Ergonomics are really, really good in the RAV4. Next are the seats, which are very comfortable, although they are Softex, which is fake leather. And that's a bit of a disappointment because the Kia Sportage that I reviewed was a lower spec, $7,000 less, and came with really nice leather seats. So it's a bit of a disappointment. There is great adjustment though, as I said, and it does have lumbar support, which is fantastic, although expected. What is weird though is that there are no memory seats. And that's weird because the lower grade cruiser model, it comes with memory seats. It's almost unacceptable that a car that costs almost $7,000, $8,000 more doesn't have those memory seats. Makes no sense. Thankfully, as I said, they are incredibly comfortable, fantastic over longer journeys. And I'm a big fan of the orange design that continues with these seats. I love the stitching on it and I love the orange accents. And they are heated and cooled as well. Then we have the 8-inch infotainment screen, which isn't the best. Just like every other Toyota out there right now, it is the exact same screen with pretty poor graphics, color accuracy, and resolution. It's functional enough, coming with digital radio and navigation. And of course you get your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is fantastic and really all you need. But it is a little bit slow, a little bit laggy, and it's not the best screen in the business. You do get physical shortcut buttons, which is awesome. You don't get that on every other car out there, so big thumbs up there. And you get the rubberized nice little dials for the tuner and the volume knob. Big fan. Something to mention as well is it has one of the worst backup camera resolutions in the world. Thankfully, it does have a 360 camera, and so I'm not gonna hate on it too much, but it's really one of the worst resolutions. Speaking of big rubberized dials, we have the air conditioning controls. Honestly, these are probably my favorite air conditioning controls purely because of how premium they feel, especially with those rubberized dials, the awesome layout of the buttons, and the digital screen. It looks really, really good, super functional. I love it. Also, the infotainment screen does come with the 9-speaker JBL system, which is a really good system. Not the best out there, but it sounds pretty damn good, and you get a great big subwoofer in the back. Decent. Anyway, moving on to the steering wheel, and again, just like every other Toyota out there, this has the exact same steering wheel. I really like the Toyota steering wheel because they're almost no frills and yet super nice. The leather on it feels premium, feels good, robust, sturdy in the hands, and it's super functional. You really don't have to take your hands off the steering wheel to control a lot of the interior. My one complaint with it though are the buttons feel pretty cheap. In fact, they're probably the cheapest feeling buttons on any steering wheel I have ever felt. But it's something you get used to pretty quickly. On the left, you have your controls for the digital instrument cluster and your volume up and down. And then on the right, you have your safety cruise control systems there and your skip forward and mode. I don't know why they've separated the radio controls to the left and the right, but they have, and it's something you do get used to. Speaking of safety systems, this car is fully loaded, and pretty much across the entire RAV4 range you get the Toyota Safety Sense, and as a result you get awesome adaptive cruise control and really strong lane keep assist. It's a fantastic system and really makes driving every day a lot easier. And then moving on to the digital display cluster, it is a 7-inch unit and it's decent. Flanking the 7-inch digital display cluster, you have your tachometer on the left-hand side and your fuel and temperature gauges on the right-hand side. It would have been a bit better if they had made the whole thing a digital display, but they haven't. And maybe that's a good thing because this display is probably the lowest resolution digital displays you will come across. Not only is it not the highest resolution screen out there, but it's not very bright either. Makes a lot of noise, but I'm not gonna slam on it too hard because it still is relatively functional. You can get quite a lot of information up there. You can change it between a digital speedometer and an analog speedometer that's also digital. And across your 6 different driving modes, it will change its look, even if it is just slight. I cannot help but floor this car. It's got very long gear ratios. We'll get into the driving in a second. Quickly talking about the rear seats, I have plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom. In fact, it is one of the most comfortable areas to be across the entire mid-sized SUV segment. It's really that good. The rear seats are the same Softex material as the front. They are very comfortable and again have the nice orange highlights and stitching. You can recline the seats just a little bit, but hey, it's something. It's also very functional back there with a USB port, a 12-volt socket, and 2 air vents. And there's a little center armrest. Luggage space is a great 580 liters. You can fit a whole heap of things back there. I really don't like the durable materials they've used in the back though. Things slide around so easily. It's been doing my head in for the week I've had it, and the first thing I would do to this car is put a rubber mat in the back so things don't slide everywhere. It's such a pain in the rear. You can also put the rear seats down as well, of course, and you will get a relatively flat loading bay, which is good. Now let's get onto how the RAV4 Edge drives. Pretty well. Now, even though this is an all-wheel drive, as I said, the all-wheel drive system on the RAV4 is actually a really good one. It can send 50% of power to both wheels, of course, as an all-wheel drive, and then it can also disconnect the rear and just send 100% of the power to the front wheel for better fuel economy. As I said, this has an exclusive 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine. That engine pumps out 152 kilowatt of power and 243 newton meters of torque. And it goes. It does make a whole lot of engine noise. It's almost an unacceptable amount of engine noise. It doesn't make you feel, oh wow, this car's really fast. It makes you think this car is really unrefined, which in reality is not the case. As I said, all of that power is driven to the all-wheel drive through an 8-speed torque converter transmission, which is buttery smooth. It's fantastic. Though it does have quite long gearing ratios, which is a bit odd for an 8-speed automatic transmission, but it's not the end of the world. And really, it just means that this car is definitely tuned for fuel economy. Speaking of, because I've been driving around in the last half an hour like a bit of a hooligan, I'm getting 11.1 liters per 100 kilometers, although you can do a lot better than that. You'll probably be getting around 9 to 10 if you are doing a mixture of urban and on-road highway settings. The 0 to 100 kilometer an hour time, or 0 to 62 miles per hour time for those stuck using Freedom units, is a pretty lowly 9.41 seconds. In fact, it is slower than the 2-wheel drive Cruiser Hybrid that I reviewed, probably because that has 2 electric motors, which helps to propel it with instant torque. But you kind of expect more for the flagship engine. But the real reason that this car has the 2.5 liter engine with the 8-speed auto and the all-wheel drive system is because that this is the off-roadery RAV4. As a result, this car comes with no less than 6 driving modes. We have normal, sport, and eco that you will find on every RAV4 out there. And I'll put it in sport now, the transmission in sport mode, and we'll give it a bit of juice. And it picks up. And then other than the normal sport and eco modes, you also get a rock and dirt, a mud mode, and a snow mode. And all that really does is change the throttle response and the traction control systems. Also collision avoidance when you're in the rock and dirt mode. I really like that when you do change into those modes, it does change the little knob that you turn it with, and it changes colors, and it's a really nice touch. But don't go thinking that this is a very capable off-roader, because it's not. It's a capable enough off-roader, but I certainly would never, ever take this car proper off-roading. If you want a proper off-roader for a similar amount of money, go watch my Mitsubishi Pajero Sport review. Cruising around town is comfortable. It's very comfortable. The suspension setup in the RAV4 is fantastic. It manages to be not too stiff and then also not too soft. So handling is fantastic too, because you turn a corner, there isn't much body roll. Overall, I'm very happy with how the RAV4 Edge drives. Is it the best in class? Well, last week I reviewed the Kia Sportage, and that just had a better 2-litre diesel, 8-speed all-wheel drive system. It just drove better. It was a faster car. I liked it more. That's not to say that this is a bad driving car, because it's not. It's a good driving car. But what really ruins it for me is the engine noise. It's far too loud and ruins what would otherwise be a great driving experience. So, is the RAV4 Edge worth it? The RAV4 Edge starts from 53,692 Australian dollars drive away. This one here with the panoramic sunroof option as well, that's 55,042 Australian dollars drive away. There is no shying away that is a lot of money for a mid-sized SUV. That's really not luxury. If you want a better value RAV4, I personally would go for the 2-wheel drive RAV4 Cruiser Hybrid. It's quite a few $1,000s less, returns far better fuel economy, is actually faster, but of course doesn't come with the same styling cues, the same off-roading capabilities, and there is a 12-month waiting list at the moment for it. I think that for everything that you get, it's a really great car. I have zero hesitation in recommending this car. I think it looks fantastic. I think it's incredibly well equipped. And it is certainly one of the most capable mid-sized SUVs that you can get. Of course, there are financial benefits over competitors as well. You get a 5-year warranty as standard. And more importantly, you get a Toyota badge. With Toyota badge comes with Toyota reliability and Toyota resale value. So if you are looking to purchase a RAV4 Edge, I cannot recommend it enough. As always, if you did enjoy the video, please do go down there and subscribe to the channel. I release an awesome new car review every single week. And if you enjoyed the video, go down there and hit the thumbs up button. It really, really helps the channel out. Comment down below what you think of the RAV4 Edge. Would you buy one? And I'll see you next week.